You walk out of the grocery store, glance at the receipt, and feel a small punch in the gut. Somehow it's $70 more than it was a year ago. Same food, same store, same you. So where is all that extra money actually going? If it feels like your money disappears faster every single month, you are not imagining it, and you are definitely not bad with money. The rules of the game quietly changed, and almost nobody sat you down to explain how. So let's fix that right now. First, the proof. Since 2020, the overall cost of living in America has jumped more than 20%. Some everyday essentials rose far more than that. Eggs, rent, insurance, and used cars all saw double-digit spikes. Economists wrap all of this in one word: inflation, but that word hides more than it explains. Inflation just means your money buys less than it used to. A dollar today does not stretch as far as a dollar 5 years ago. But here is the real question almost nobody answers. Why does money lose value in the first place? It starts with how money is actually created. Most people picture a vault full of cash. The truth is, stranger. When a government needs money, it does not always tax or borrow from savings. Sometimes it simply creates brand new money. During the pandemic, governments and central banks pumped trillions of fresh dollars into the economy in a matter of months. That money kept businesses alive and put checks in people's pockets. It was not evil, but it carried a hidden cost. Picture the entire economy as a giant pot of soup and every dollar as a single spoonful of flavor. Now pour in gallons of water. The pot is bigger, but every spoonful tastes weaker. That is inflation in one image. Money supply was only half the story. At the same time, the world simply could not make and ship things fast enough. Factories shut down, ports clogged, workers stayed home, supply dropped just as demand came roaring back. More dollars chasing fewer goods is a recipe for rising prices, and that is exactly what happened. Then a war in Europe spiked energy and food prices, and energy quietly sits inside the cost of everything. Every product you buy has to be grown or built, then powered and moved. When fuel jumps, the whole shelf jumps with it. Okay, prices rose, but wages rose too, right? Here is where the story gets genuinely painful. For most workers, paychecks did go up. They just went up slower than prices. So in real terms, you quietly took a pay cut. And this is not new. For decades, worker productivity has climbed while the typical paycheck barely moved. Since the 1970s, productivity is up massively, but the average wage has only crawled. The extra value those workers created did not vanish into thin air. It flowed somewhere else, mostly to the people who own things. And that single word, own, is the key that unlocks this entire mystery. Because prices did not rise evenly, the things you need to live exploded while wages limped along behind. Housing is the clearest example. A home that cost about 3 times a yearly salary back in the 80s now costs closer to 8 times that salary in many cities. The ladder did not just get taller. Someone removed the bottom rungs. Healthcare followed the very same path, rising far faster than general inflation for decades. So did college. Tuition has outpaced almost everything, burying a whole generation in debt before they even start. Notice the pattern. The essentials you simply cannot opt out of are exactly the ones that rose the most. When the basics eat your entire paycheck, it does not matter how disciplined you are. The math just does not work. Now for the part that makes people angry. The chaos of inflation handed companies the perfect cover. When every headline screams rising prices, a business can quietly raise its own prices and simply blame inflation. Many did exactly that and then reported record-breaking profits in almost the same breath. Economists even gave it a nickname: greedflation, raising prices not because costs forced it, but because customers would pay. You also met its sneaky cousin, shrinkflation. The price stays the same, but the bag, bar, or bottle quietly gets smaller. Same chip bag, fewer chips. Same roll, fewer sheets. You pay more without the number on the shelf ever changing. Put it all together and a brutal picture appears. Your wages crawl, your essentials sprint, and your dollar slowly shrinks. It is like running on a treadmill that someone keeps secretly speeding up, then telling you to just run faster. And here is the uncomfortable truth. Inflation is not bad for everyone. It quietly picks winners and losers. If you own assets, homes, stocks, and businesses, inflation actually lifts their value while shrinking your old debts. If you mostly earn a wage and rent your life, inflation becomes a slow, silent tax you never actually voted for. So no, you are not failing. You are playing a game whose rules were rewritten without your permission. But understanding the machine is the first real step to beating it. Owning assets, even small ones, moves you to the winning side. Turning even a little of what you earn into things that grow is how you stop running and finally start gaining ground. That is exactly what we do here. We hand you the cheat sheet to the money machine. This is Brainonomics.